What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Moonlight Game Devs, the podcast where game developers share the story behind their games and the lessons learned with their fellow developers. Today I had a chat with Panichenko, who some of you guys may know from his revenue sharing videos on YouTube, where he shares how much revenue he made from his two mobile games, Endurance and Ailment. He talks about, not really knowing a lot about game development and then creating two profitable games on the App Store that are generating him, between $100 to $1,000 of revenue every month. So it's really cool to chat with him, and I hope you guys learn a lot from kind of the different tips and tricks he has to share. What's up, Ivan? Welcome to the show.
What's up, Mark? How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's a nice afternoon. Just finished work and had a quick workout.
Oh, good.
How about yourself? Where are you located right now?
I am actually at the moment. I'm in Ukraine, and I live in Spain, I work for the British company. So it's a bit kind of like complicated thing, as I work for a British company remotely from Spain, but I'm originally from Ukraine. So currently I'm just staying at my family. So with my family, yeah. So in Ukraine now.
All right, nice man. You're the creator of two pretty, I would say really successful indie games on the mobile stores, Ailment and Endurance.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. One of the things that really caught my attention kind of on YouTube as well is you were really kind of transparent in sharing that indie development journey there.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of kind of questions about that, but maybe you can just tell us kind of like your background, as in, how'd you get started making a game, and what was kind of the inspiration there?
Yeah, sure. So I worked, and I still work as CG artist. I would say, I think around 12 years now. And I actually never had any kind of game development background. I always was like a computer graphic artist, with just doing some models or like animations, all that kind of stuff. And at some point, it's not like I got bored, but I wanted to try something new. And I thought like maybe game development can be kind of cool. And I was checking. I mean, obviously, I was alone, so I didn't expect to make like AAA games or something like that. So I wanted to start like from very basic things, I wanted to make some kind of mobile game, like a very, very simple one, but still kind of that game that I would play myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how basically I started. I was just and the first thing I've done, I just started Googling like how can I do that, and I figured out that I can just like watch some like YouTube videos, like tutorials, or even better if I use Udemy.com. It's not like I'm just like making promotion here, yeah. But just like because I
really link in the description.
yeah. But the thing is, like, I used to create some video courses myself on Udemy.com. But
nice.
Yeah, they were related to like 3D modeling or maybe to 3D texturing or animation, that kind of stuff. So I knew about this resource, and I thought it's very helpful for beginners, like any kind of basically industry or anything you start with, So, and I thought like I'm gonna just check it out there. Maybe there's something pretty cheap, so I can start with. And I found a couple of courses. Some of them were like related to just game development, like from like scratch. Some of them, they were related more to like pixel art. And why actually I decided to start with pixel art, because I thought, okay, I know 3D modeling. I can make 3D models. I can make maybe even 3D games, but it's gonna take ages. Like every single like knowing how long it takes to create every single 3D model with texture, and especially like if you make it for mobile, it has to be optimized.
Yeah.
And I knew it has to be optimized. Like it's not like you're making a 3D model for computer games or something like that, because you have to know like how it has to be optimized, and like how it's supposed to work on mobile without like pretty smoothly, So I decided like, okay, I'm gonna do probably with 2D graphics, but I'm super bad at drawing. So in general, like even though I'm 3D modeler, I never do concept art or anything like that for my models. I normally look for them, or I get them from artists, like 2D artists. And
Mhm.
I decided, okay, but I'm gonna try anyway. I'm gonna try to do something with 2D graphics, and I thought like pixel art is this is kind of thing that you don't have to be great in art. You just have to. It's like it's a bit technical as well. So and I just started doing that. So I bought like the course for pixel art, and it was pretty simple. I did very simple drawings in pixel art, and I decided to implement them in that game that I was working on using some of the Udemy courses. It was like some kind of platformer. So I just basically replaced the graphics. I was following the tutorial, yeah, the course, but I
Mhm.
decided to make my own graphics. So I used the pixel art, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like it started like since the beginning because I never had any kind of programming background. I never learned anything like in like ever. So it was very difficult because it was completely different from what I learned before, like designing and making 3D models. But then, like I guess in around maybe in 3 months, it became kind of easier. I mean, some things already kind of because from the beginning I was just like basically copy pasting what the guy was saying in the course. I was just like without even thinking. I mean, I was trying to follow, but there were some of very complex things, even though they are not complex at all. Yeah, but for me they were super complex in the
Mhm.
beginning. So I was just following him. I was just like basically copy pasting what he was saying. And then after like 3 months, I figured out like some of the things. Okay, they became clearer, and I could like basically do them myself without actually like following something. Or I was kind of improving some of the code that the guy was showing. I was improving some of the stuff myself, just looking just searching Google and all this kind of stuff on forums or Unity forums or Stack Overflow forums, so all that kind of stuff. And at some point, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to make something for like actually maybe my own game or something like that. And I decided that I'm gonna try do something like I at that point I was like checking different games because I didn't know, I didn't want to make another platformer because I saw that there are so many already like in the market, so many
Mm.
similar platformer games, and I was kind of okay, people are not gonna play it because like there are too much, like really like too many of them in the Google Play or App Store. So I've decided maybe I'm just gonna make something else, and I found this game like I like which is called Soul Knight. And at that point, like it was 2017, so it was popular, but it was not that popular because right now that it has very huge, like very big community, and many people know this game. But at that point, it wasn't that popular. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to make something very similar. But what I was missing there, I was missing just the basically story because there was no story at all. I mean, like there was some, but it was like very kind of not generic, but I couldn't follow it. There was no like, uh, it was basically I don't know, like the levels were I guess randomly generated, so you
Yeah.
could follow anything. And I said, okay, I want to have like maybe different setting. Maybe it's gonna be some kind of future or maybe sci-fi or something else. Not like because in Soul Knight it's like kind of fantasy. It has kind of fantasy setting, and I wanted to have something else. And I wanted to have a story for sure because I really like games with stories. I mean, I'm kind of old school gamers that plays normally like this kind of like yeah, I mean I always like the games with the story. For me, it was always the story was the most important than actually even sometimes gameplay. But yeah, but it has to be all together, of course. But yeah, so I decided to make a story, and I took that kind of those mechanics that I saw in Soul Knight, and then yeah, I just started building it slowly, and in around 4 months, I already came up with something that was playable. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. That doesn't look bad, and but then I kind of got tired because I guess I was learning too much. I was like learning every day for so many hours after work because I still was working. I still had a normal job. I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I cannot do that anymore. And I just dropped it. I just dropped it for, I guess. one and a half year, something like that, just completely. And I forgot completely everything that I learned before, like within those. So it was like 3 months before starting the game, and then 4 months after. So in total, I learned around in like maybe like I was learning for 7 months, and then so all that information that I got within those 7 months, I just forgot completely within a year and a half. And then at some point, I was like, okay, I remember I still have that project somewhere. It was already 2019, the beginning of 2019, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should finish it because it's like it's almost done. I just need to finish a couple levels, just add some kind of maybe weapons and something like that. And yeah, it took me around 2 or 3 months to finish it. And yeah, I finished it. I published it. And actually, I didn't expect anything like it become like I didn't expect it to be like great game or like people gonna love it, or I didn't expect anything like that. But actually, people liked it. Like I was so surprised. People liked it. They were playing it. They were commenting it. I received so many reviews. And at the same point, like when I just released it, I understood that I need to figure out how to market it, because the market is so big, especially this mobile market is huge, and there are so many games, and I have to it's very difficult to reach out people. So I started also like I went again to udemy.com, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for some mobile app marketing courses, or maybe mobile game marketing courses. And I found a couple of courses, and I was just like trying to use those advices that people, the teachers, they were given there, and I was applying them. And I at some point I kind of figured out, okay, this is how it works. And within, I guess, like, so since the release, it was like, yes, 1 month since the release, I like within that month I was like fixing bugs, of course, but at the same point I was reaching out to different editors in different mobile or like yeah, normally like mobile web resources, just asking them, okay, guys, like this is my game, I'm an indie developer, maybe you will be interested to like in checking out my game. And I got some replies. I mean, obviously, I don't know, like not that many. I think I wrote like a lot of letters, but some people replied and they were interested in like covering it. Some of them for free, some of them, I mean, most of them they were like charging something, like not much. Also, like I was writing to YouTubers, and yeah, and then it worked. Like it worked, and like within year and a half. So the game, or like yeah, the game was downloaded around like 1 million, maybe 200,000 times. So it was very very good. Like for me, it was like it's crazy. Like I just like I'm such a newbie, in this in this thing. I mean, I barely know how to code, and like my code is horrible. Like I'm so embarrassed to show it to anyone, but it works, and people play it, and people like the game. And I was like, this is amazing. This is like super cool. And I got so many comments, people asking like, can you make another like a part? Can you make a second part? Like we are very interested in this story. Like, can you make another one? And I was like, okay, that's something I can do. Like if it's more like the same mechanics, I mean I know how to code. So like I mean this kind of genre. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna improve some stuff, and I decided to make a second part. And this is basically Endurance. So the first one was Ailment. Endurance is the second part, but it's a prequel to the story of Ailment. And people liked it too, and it was even easier to market it because I already had some auditors, so people already knew about my previous game. They already kind of knew my name, and they were like in the first day, I just dropped just sent some emails, and I got around like I don't know, around like 4 or 5 thousand downloads just in the first day. I mean, it's not huge, but for me, it's huge. So because previously it was like like I had to, I don't know, it was like super slow. With Ailment, it was like super slow. Like maybe the first day, maybe like I don't know, 50 downloads, maybe 100 downloads, but then with the second one, it's much easier because when you have already auditory, it's much easier to like to reach out people, and just to show them like, and they already were waiting for it. They were so happy to get it. So yeah, it was pretty cool, and I also did more or less the same marketing as I've done before. So I was reaching out to the same people that I reached with Ailment. the same reporters, the same YouTubers. Maybe I added some more to my contact list, and I was also sending them like my game, and like say also I was sending this time I was sending like, because I didn't know about this kind of promo codes, in the first with the first game. I really never heard like you can just send something like promo code and people can play it for free. I mean, like without ads, or maybe with some like in-game points already there, or maybe like whatever. And this time when I was reaching out to the super reporters or some players, I was sending them the promo codes as well, just saying like, okay, you can play it without any ad or whatever, or you can have already some points in the game, so it's going to be easier for you. And so yeah, I was just doing that. And so at the moment, so it's been how many months? It's been around 4 months, and endurance was downloaded around 300. I checked yesterday, 320,000 times. So it's like also pretty good. It's actually, I guess it's even, I don't know whether it's better than Ailment. It's even more, I think it's more or less the same, but it's very good. Like I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, that's me. That's me. Like I'm already starting to think. I mean, I got some what I was doing this month, like after the release of Endurance, I was porting it to Nintendo Switch, and I did it to PC for Steam. I did it as well, and I was trying to do it for Xbox, but I think I'm gonna fail in it because it's been 2 months since I started, and it's super complicated. And for me, like I'm still like I still know nothing about programming, So it's like for me, porting to Xbox, it's just horrible. It's like a nightmare, I'm just hitting my like I'm just hitting the wall with my head, like and nothing's changing. It's like I'm not moving anywhere, So that's so I'm kind of thinking maybe I'm gonna go with a publisher. So for now, I'm just like I decided, okay, I'm gonna struggle for one more week, and if it doesn't go anywhere, so I'm just gonna go to publisher, because I published Ailment with one publisher in the beginning of the year. So I'm probably gonna go with the same guys if I won't be able to, if I don't port it to Xbox. And yeah, and I'm already starting to think about my next game. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna make some kind of multiplayer game, like for sure. Maybe not the story-driven one. I don't know yet, but for sure multiplayer. I want to try to make some kind of multiplayer game for sure. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. That's such a good like chronological just breakdown. So really appreciate that. Just telling us kind of in one go the entire story and like sharing a lot of really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I really found it interesting that like you actually mentioned that you had no sort of pixel art or 2D art kind of background because looking at Ailment, and you mentioning that you were kind of in an artistic field for your main job. I was just so impressed by the graphics and how well it all matches together. So I would have immediately assumed that when you said you were kind of a graphical artist that you were doing something with 2D as well. Or do you have like a design background, or did that just come through the tutorials that you were doing?
No, actually, no. I in my university, when I was starting in university, I have completely different specialty. So I'm actually a radio technician. I'd say. I don't know how do you call it in English. It's like basically, or it's all related to. I mean, an engineer, so like completely different from design or anything. But 3D graphics, I learned just I remember those times there was not that much tutorials in the internet. I don't remember whether there was an internet by the time, so I was learning from books, like making 3D graphics.
Yeah.
But what helped me, like working on Ailment, is that I already had because I worked like basically all my life. I worked as a computer graphic artist. So even though I was working only in 3D field, in 3D, basically it's CG 3D industry. I already got some kind of, I'd say, how they say it, you have an eye on that. So I kind of, my eye was trained, kind of matching the colors, like the color palettes and all that kind of stuff. So it helped me a lot when I was working on the light in Ailment. And also, obviously, I kind of, the proportions as well. So it's like everything, all those kind of stuff that you kind of learn doing some kind of design, it helps a lot because You're working with proportions, you're working with composition, you're working with the color palettes, you're working with shadows, lights, all that kind of stuff. So all that helped, of course, to. I mean, I didn't, even though I didn't know how to draw like in 2D, in pixel art. It's all that those kind of stuff. They helped me a lot to make like to set the atmosphere in the game. So that's for sure. It helps a lot. So even though I didn't know anything about 2D art, I mean, I work in Photoshop a lot, but it's not like it's basically color grading. It's not like I'm drawing something there, But it helped. Of course, it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I assumed as well. These sort of overarching principles of kind of visual design. Can you give us like an idea of how long Ailment, in terms of just pure development time, it took you to build compared to Endurance? Because I know that one is obviously I think Endurance is a prequel, right?
Yeah. So Ailment, it took me around, I'd say, 8 months to finish, because I started around I'd say 7 to 8 months to finish Ailment. But because I was learning, so it was kind of slow. I mean, even though I was learning a lot every day, but I still was kind of slow. And with Endurance, it was much quicker, because obviously I was reusing some of the code which I developed for Ailment. I mean, not all of it, but like some of the parts, and I was like I'm kind of optimizing it and like just adding some new stuff. So Endurance, it took me 3.5 months to finish. Like seriously, it took 3.5 months, and I finished the whole game. And it's bigger. It's like Ailment. If you play it, you can finish it. I'd say maybe 2 hours max, and Endurance, I think it's around 4 hours, 3.5 hours. So it's like there's much more content there. And but what helped me with Endurance is that I hired an artist. So not only I wasn't working, I didn't have to create all of the characters or all of the assets. I mean, in terms of like objects in the scenes, I was just basically making UI, maybe some background, some kind of I was working on the ship that is in the poster, but most of the graphics was done by an artist. So because I already had I understood, okay, so I can make graphic, but I'm still not that great artist to make like super good pixel art graphics.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just this time I can basically, I have some money from Ailment already. Yeah, so I made Ailment, I get some money, and I was like, okay, I can spend those money just to hire an artist, and it's going to be better, and it's going to be better graphics, and then I can still. So yeah, I did that, and it helps a lot in terms of because I probably would take me much more time. Would have taken me much more time if I was doing it alone.
Yeah.
Maybe the same, maybe more or less the same. Maybe it would have taken I don't know, 7 or 8 months again. But the guy did the whole graphics in 1 month. So, and I did the whole basically. I mean, in total, I would say, because I was giving him some tasks like, okay, can you do like this and that, and it was kind of 1 week in December, another week in January. Then it's so. But I would say maybe 1.5 months, the whole graphics was done from his side, and I just had to assemble everything. I was just doing that and coding, and then all that kind of stuff. And I started actually this time I started marketing a bit earlier, because with Ailment I started when it was already released, but this time I was doing it before. So I think I started doing it 1 or months or 2 months before I released the game.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about you releasing kind of Ailment first and then marketing in it. Now Ailment actually has a bunch of downloads. I'm just seeing on the Play Store, which is where I get my games because I use Android. It's got 500,000 downloads, right?
Yeah, it says there it's 500,000, but it's actually, I think it's around 700,000 there, because it doesn't show the precise amount there on Google Play. But it also has around more or less the same. I think it's 400,000 or 500,000 downloads on App Store.
So yeah, you mentioned there, you started out the game, it got 50 downloads. How long did it take you for you to kind of, quote unquote, get the ball rolling? And where did you kind of see the most traffic coming from?
The thing is, like what I've done in the beginning. So I've read somewhere. I think I read some article, and it was saying that it's a good idea if you publish your game, but you don't publish it like publish it. It's better to do it like with this early access, so people can test it a bit, they can play it a bit, and they can give you feedback. And then the thing is, like when you do it on Google Play, people don't see the reviews. So until unless it's published, people won't see the reviews. So only me who's seen those reviews that are that people are writing when it's in early access. And I think there is a limit. I think there is a limit of 10,000 people that can download the game when it's in early access. I think it's the maximum amount of people, but you can make it less or more. I don't remember for sure, but it was something like that. So I don't remember what exactly happened. Like I remember it was just like posting a lot in Twitter. I mean, it didn't really help because I have like I don't know, maybe it helped like for maybe like another 50 downloads, but not that much. But I was posting as well on the Facebook, but it's more or less the same because it's a very small group, maybe 100 people, 100 people, so it's like nothing, you know. And how many going to download? My friends, my family, probably. Not like that. So I think what helped the most is when I reached out to those reporters, especially I guess it was Droid Gamer and Touch Arcade, and some other I don't remember how many, but that helped for sure. So when the first articles came out, when the one that I paid for, then I started getting some downloads, like some significant downloads. And I think it was still in early access. I was still getting downloads, and then it's like slowly. It was the thing is like it became. I don't know what happened. I think it happened that it got featured or something on for sure on App Store. It was featured like for maybe for a couple days or for a week. I don't remember what happened on Google Play. I think Google Play was pretty slow since the beginning, and then at some point some of the Google Play employees, some of the like reached out to me with an email, and they saying like, okay, like we have your game, like we saw your game. We're thinking about like featuring your game, so you need to do this and that. And they send me some requirements of doing that, like for what I need to do for being featured in Google Play.
All right.
And I was like, I don't remember who was that and how they actually, I don't know, maybe there was this kind of program like for indie developers, something like that. And that's why they reached out to me. But yeah, I remember for sure there was a letter in the beginning. So I released it in May. And I think in June or July, I got that letter from one of the Google Play employees. And they were saying, okay, can you send us some art that we can use for featuring? And then they sent me some requirements. I had to change something in my code. So for example, if you press back button on Android, so it has to also like in the menus in the game, it has to go back. So it's not like you're so part of just pressing the buttons in the game, the back button on Android itself on the phone, it has to work as well. So, like it has to go back to the menus and some other stuff. So there was some other stuff. I think in terms of like maybe localizations or something like that. I don't remember all of the requirements, but it was like a bunch of requirements, and so I did those. And then they told me, hey, we can feature it like maybe in 2 weeks or something or 1 month. And they featured it in the indie corner. And then I started getting downloads. And then they told me like, okay, you can do it actually. If you update the game, we can feature it again in new and updated branch in Google Play. And I was like, okay, that's cool, sounds good to me. So I did multiplayer because I wanted to make something significant, and people were asking for multiplayer. So I did multiplayer, and I released it in September, and it got featured again. I don't remember whether it was featured in new and updated or they featured again in the corner. So and I started getting even more downloads, and and it was featured 2 times within that summer. Was featured 2 times in App Store as well, like just the game of the day or something like that, just for 1 day or 2 days. I don't remember. And and then in the end of the year in December, I got another email from Google Play employee saying like, oh, you know what, we are actually nominated your game for one of the best indie games of the year on Google Play. I was like, what? I was like, seriously, this is crazy. Like, I remember the day was with my friend. We were like in a cafeteria or something, and I just got that email, and I was like just scrolling through it because it was a pretty long email, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, I was, you know what? They just nominated my game for one of the best indie games of the year. And he was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny, you know. It was pretty cool. And then after that, so they told me it's going to be. I'm gonna get that award, and it's going to be featured again in Google Play. I think it was like December 5th or something like that. I don't remember what was exactly the date. But for 1 month, I was getting so many downloads. It was crazy. I remember, like, I think the first in December was downloaded around 200,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting emails every day with these reviews. Like, I seriously, I actually had to turn off my phone in the night because I was getting like all these reviews, like all of this emails coming with the reviews, like people reviewing it like every single minute. I was like, oh my god, this is too much. I was getting a lot. I don't know how many, like maybe around 1,000 or not 1,000. Okay, maybe not. Maybe like 200 or 300 letters every day.
Wow, dude.
With these reviews, and a part of those people just writing to me, oh, you know, we like your game, or there are some bugs or whatever. So like so many, it was like my phone all like constantly was buzzing all the time, and all like brr, brr. I was like, oh my god, I can't stand it anymore. Because before I was replying to every single review, and since like that's the date, I couldn't. I was like, okay, I just physically cannot reply to every single email. So I just kind of dropped it. And then after, I'd say maybe 3 months, it just dropped, and it just disappeared completely. So right now I'm just getting maybe 600, 700 downloads a day with Ailment. I mean, I'm not marketing it anywhere. I'm not like using any kind of like advertising or AdSense or AdMob or anything else. So it's like it's just organic downloads. But it's still good, you know, like it's still good, like 600, 700 every day without doing anything. It's still good. I think it's still good. Yeah, so it can still generating some revenue. It's not like huge. I mean, I can tell. Yeah, can I tell here?
From my side, you feel free to share revenue. I mean, that's
Okay, so it still gets around with advertising and some in-app purchases. I mean, in-app purchases like it's very low income from Ailment, but I would say it's around $600 every month. That's what I get from Ailment. You know, like without doing
that's good, man.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, I'm super glad. You know, like, I mean, probably
Congrats.
if I didn't have a job, probably it wouldn't be that great, but because I had to support myself somehow. But still, it's super good in terms of like, I mean, I didn't do anything. I published this game 1.5 years ago, or even more, and it's still generating income. I was like, this is pretty good. And this is in some countries in Europe, for example, in Ukraine, it's pretty decent amount of money. You know, if I lived here, not in Spain, I would be. I mean, I could survive with that, like for sure. You know, paying rent, buying
Yeah.
food. Yeah.
And if you think about it, you know, it's an online business, so location not the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm really happy with that. So, and the thing is, like, what I actually, and many people were saying, is very like the same thing. So what is kind of cool that when you build in one game, and then you build another game, and then you build a third game, fourth game, and so on, you're gonna get more revenue. I mean, in total, like, you're just gonna build this kind of community around you. People gonna know your name. You're gonna have audience, and it's gonna be much easier to pitch your game when you release a new game. And at some point, you're gonna get to that point where you're gonna be completely independent in terms of like revenue. I mean, in terms of income, because I mean, you're gonna get the money. You know, you're gonna get. I mean, obviously, you will have to continue making games, like to maintain this kind of income. But still, it's gonna be much easier. For example, that's what I'm thinking. Like, just to create a couple games and just make a living of it. You know, like just do that and just continue doing that in the future. But like with no rush, no, like not trying to make the game in 2, 3, 4 months, but just maybe making something bigger, but in the longer term, but better, you know, as well.
Yeah, I think that's such a great thing. Like, and I think is that kind of like a goal of yours long term
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're on a good path there because, you know, I think one of the big and smart things you did as well is, you know, releasing a game based on, you know, a game that was already good, but you could kind of recycle the components to
Yeah.
make a great game, but reduce the time of development as well and make it even more profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's really interesting to hear kind of that growth as well, like how the game kind of evolved and all of those things. Speaking of kind of revenue, you shared a little bit there,
Yeah.
and I you don't want to speak about it too much because I encourage everyone to check out your YouTube channel where you kind of do these really great in-depth explanations
Yeah.
of how much you make and things. They're really entertaining. But one thing I want to talk about is kind of like the monetization strategy that you applied there. I know that your game doesn't have very aggressive, what I would consider aggressive monetization. You don't really have any like a gem economy kind of where you have like a premium currency and a soft currency. You have, from what I can tell, basically your main ways to monetize is basically by allowing the player to buy, soft currency that they can just acquire normally by just playing and, reward ads.
Mm-hmm.
Can you break us down, like, what is kind of, the main driver for revenue for your games? Is it ads? Is it in-app purchases?
Yeah, it's actually so with Ailment it was mostly with ads, because I mean you could find all of the necessary things in the game, like such as guns, like, or you could like purchase guns with the in-game points. But the thing is, like, all of the guns that were in Ailment, you could just find them just by playing the game, and there was nothing extra, and that's why people didn't want to buy any points, or maybe if they wanted to like make it easier for themselves to play, so they were buying some stuff, yeah. But with
Mm-hmm.
endurance it was different because I didn't place all of the guns around all of the around the game. So some of the guns they you could only buy them with in-game points. And so I guess that's actually, and also in endurance, what I added there. So I've added this kind of RPG element where you can just upgrade some stats of the characters, such as like speed or like health, oh, no, not health, but speed, like, and regeneration, all this kind of stuff. So people also like would that was I think it's going to be kind of encouraging for people to maybe purchase for the points, in-game points, in-game credits. And
Mm-hmm.
why I didn't want to make different kind of currencies like people do, like companies do, or people do in the games, like this kind of like premium currency or like soft currency. For me as a player, it was a bit confusing. Like it was kind of complicated. I mean, I know that people get used to already, yeah, with all these games that are in the market. But for me, it was a little bit confusing and a bit annoying to have like two different currencies, like with this, for example, gems and then maybe coins. And like, okay, I don't want that. I mean, I understand why they're doing that, like because there's so many people working on every single title. Like, I mean, most of this, like maybe I don't know, any kind of games, yeah. Because there are
Mm-hmm.
companies, so they have to pay their salaries, and it has to be super profitable, those games, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, how people can eat. For me, it's because I was doing it most of it alone. So I was thinking, okay, I don't need to have that much money, or I don't want to make it that complicated. I just still want to make like keep it kind of simple. So I decided to just to have this soft currency, which you can, or you can either you can purchase it, or you just can get it in the game just by killing enemies, or maybe just getting it from some lockers and boxes in the game. So I said, okay, it's I'm just gonna keep it, not complicating it too much. And yeah, most of the revenue comes from ads still, even though like I guess the portion of the in-app purchases, I would say it's uh, around 20%, maybe 15% from the whole income. Because what I've done recently, not that recently, but I've done it in the first month since I launched my game. So in the first, this is going to be kind of advertising right now, yeah, because
No
um,
problem.
I'm just going to tell about this company that I can sign the not contract, but I'm kind of subscribed for their like SDK. I'm using their SDK in my game. Yeah. So in the beginning, when I just launched Endurance, I used just only AdMob. Yeah. So I was thinking I used AdMob before with Ailment, and it was giving me some revenue. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna use, and it's pretty simple to integrate it, implement it. So I decided to use AdMob, and then at some point, I got this email from these guys from China. They called Yodo One, so they're a publisher, yeah, but
Yep.
They told me, I mean, I will, and the thing is, like, I didn't want to go with publishers at all because I received many letters from different publishers all around the world, and I didn't want to because I was thinking, okay, I really want to keep it like indie because it's indie development. It has to be indie, you know. Like, I want to keep, like, I want to have the full control over my game. I don't want to be like, I don't want to feel obliged to do something, or like if somebody asks me, I want to, like, if I want to change the game this way, then I do it, and if I don't, I don't. So, and but with publishers, it's like sometimes, I mean, I think it's more, because I never worked, yeah, with them, but I think it's more complicated because they're interested in, like, in making the game very profitable, and I still wanted to make it like still kind of not like a greedy game, not like a game that just like pushes people to spend money on it. It still has to be like entertaining, you know, and just if you want to play it, if you want to make it easier to play, just okay, you can just spend some money, or if the ads are so annoying to you, then you can spend some money just to remove them. But other than that, I was just thinking, okay, it has to be entertaining, and people have to just enjoy it. So that's why I didn't want to go with publishers, and also, of course, I wanted to have like full control over the game for myself. And but these guys, they told me, okay, we're not offering you publishing the game. We're offering you to integrate our SDK. And it's not like the first company that it's not like something innovative. Many companies are doing kind of similar stuff. So what's the difference is that they had in their SDK, they had all of the different ad networks, not only AdMob. There was like Unity ads, AdMob, and many others. I think there's like 30 different ad networks in their SDK, which just like, it's super simple to integrate it. And the thing is, like, what it does, it's actually because it's when a user is seeing ad, if it's only AdMob, there's no competition between ad networks, which ad network is going to show to user their ad, because it's only, for example, if you have only AdMob is not competing with anyone. It's just showing you AdMob ad, and that's it. But if you have many ad networks, like such as AdMob or Unity ads in your game, they're competing in they're putting the prices higher for the ad, just to show the most expensive one to a user. So that's what it helps, and that's why it's like bidding. It's like bidding system. So, like, for example, like Google says, like, I'm gonna show I'm gonna show an ad to a user for like 1 cent, and then Unity ad says, like, okay, no, we're gonna show it for like 2 cents. And then you AdMob, okay, no, okay, well, if you're gonna do like that, we're gonna show for 3 cents. And it's like they're bidding, and then the winner is showing the ad to a user, and obviously it depends on the region and the content as well. But all that was already there, so I didn't have to integrate every single, for example, because if like, it's integrating AdMob is one thing, integrating Unity ads another thing, then maybe there are other, so there's so many different ad networks. You have to all of them, different implementation. It takes ages, and all of them have to work together, and then you have to make, I don't know how actually to make this kind of stuff, how they bid between them, I don't know how to use how to make it. So, but these guys, they had already the solution for that.
Nice.
That's why it's actually helped a lot to increase, like, so I was getting with AdMob, normally what I was getting, it's around $2 per 1,000 views of ads. More or less the same. I mean, for obviously for App Store it's higher. I think it was like 4 or something, or maybe 5. But for Google Play was lower. But in average, I'd say like around $2, $2.50. And then because I implemented this Yodel One SDK with all those different ad networks, it's actually increased like 3 times. Can you imagine that? And
wow, dude.
And it increased the revenue as well. So I was like, this is amazing. Like, so I'm getting, like, instead of getting like $20 per day, or like maybe like $60 per day, right now I'm getting like 120 or 180. I was just because implementing that kind of stuff. And I was thinking, okay, so, and how much like you're the one take, because they obviously have to earn something as well. And I was asking, like, when I had the interview with them, when I had a call with them, I was like, so how much, guys, do you charge? Is it like 50, 30%? They told me it's 10. It's 10%. That's what they get, 10%. Not like, because And it was like, I was like, this is pretty low. They just get 10% of the income that I get from ads. I was like, this is nice. And they're so super helpful because I told them, okay, guys, if I'm gonna go with you, can you just help me some like with some tips of like maybe monetization, maybe better monetization of my game, like, or maybe some advertising advices or something like that. And they prepared PDFs for me, like with all those like advices, and I used them, and it was super cool. And then actually, and they're constantly improving and adding new networks to their SDK, which actually, so my revenue is actually, even though I'm kind of getting right now, because with endurance it's kind of slowly getting lower the downloads every day. So like I'm getting with for endurance, I get around 2,000 downloads for Google Play and maybe 100, only 100 for App Stores. It's like almost nothing for App Store. But for Google Play, it's more or less the same. It's like 2,000, 2,500 every day. And but it's kind of slowly dropping every day. But I'm getting because they're improving their SDK and adding new ad networks, and they're just experimenting with different locations and which kind of like ads where to show. My revenue is getting higher every day. So it's like, I mean, slowly, but it's constantly going higher, because I was getting around like $90. I mean, in the beginning it was better, but then I got to $90, and it's been like for maybe 1.5 months, $90 a day from endurance. And then right now,
Nice, dude.
it gets better because it's around 130, so it's like $40 more than before, even though I have less downloads. So it's like it's actually super. These guys they're really helping like people like me, like indie developers, like solo developers. It's really amazing stuff. Like the thing is, like they also helping me because I mean, they were gonna help anyone, yeah, if you ask them. But they're helping me as well because I told them, okay, guys, I have this YouTube channel, and it's like I can just kind of some kind of promotion as well. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, that sounds good to us, I mean, the thing is, like, they're pretty big because they were doing this. They were publishing this game Across the Road, I think. So they're pretty big. They kind of not like, I don't know, in China.
They have some huge hits for sure. They're really popular.
Yeah. So, but this is kind of new stuff for them because they didn't do it before. I mean, they were only publishing, and now right now they're doing different kind of stuff. This kind of, it's another project. That's the one that they're. And I was one of the first people who started working with them with this project. Like when they're just integrating their SDK, and that's it in the game.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, man. It's very nice. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm for sure. I'm just gonna continue working with these guys and just like yeah, I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing that. That's really interesting. And yeah, like the SDK, is it easy to integrate? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's just super simple. I was super surprised. They did
awesome.
a pretty good job. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting as well, like a bit earlier, you talked about kind of your reasons, your arguments against doing kind of like a premium currency as well, like saying it makes the game more complicated. And I totally agree. Like, I really like your approach to kind of creating some more, I guess, currency sinks there, like adding the RPG system and adding the store and things like that, where players can actually sink money to incentivize them more to actually buy your soft currency. Did you see that actually having a significant impact on the amount of people who buy IAPs compared to Ailment?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think it helped a lot because people are actually seeing more things to kind of purchase in the game, or to more kind of things to upgrade in the game. That's why they are buying these in-game points. Because, and also obviously in Ailment there was less of advertising, and here I guess I put some more stuff. I mean, I used some tips from the other one, and that's why many people actually buying remove ads feature. But they're just pressing that button just to remove ads. I mean, obviously the thing is, like, it's not like from my perspective, I cannot tell it's a lot of ads because there are so many ads that I mean, most of the ads you can just skip. You don't have to watch them because you're gonna get the same. You're gonna get that weapon in the game still. I mean, most of it.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna get those points somewhere, maybe in the locker or whatever. But if you it's like a kind of additional stuff. If you just want to make the game easier for you to play, and that's it. But you always have an option to skip it. The only thing you cannot skip is the ads in between levels, those interstitial ads, which is like 5 seconds long, or yeah, I think it's 5 seconds. So it's not too annoying. But yeah, people actually buy a lot of in-game credits just to upgrade some character stats, or maybe to buy some new weapon or whatever. But yeah, because in Ailment, it was happening very rarely. So I'd say, I don't know, in-app purchases, in Ailment, I'd say they take maybe 5% of the whole income, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah, very low. Yeah.
So you about 4x the revenue of IAPs by basically creating more currency, like ways to spend currency.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
exactly. And also, what was interesting for me, I published as well a part of the free version. I published premium version, so it's already without ads, without anything, all this kind of annoying stuff. And I put a link in the free version, yeah, so people can just like, if they when the first time they launch the game, and they can see, okay, there's a premium version without ads, and they actually without ads, without, I don't remember what else did I do there. And every day, I'd say around 5-7 people are buying premium version. So, and it's like $199. So it's still good. Like it's not that bad revenue. It's like in a month it can get like maybe 400, 500 monthly. So it's very good. So this kind of like this. It's not new kind of idea yet to have like one premium version, one free version of the same game. But it kind of works, because it works like I'm getting, okay, most of the income obviously I'm getting from ads, and then some of the income I'm getting from in-app purchases in the free version. But a part of that I'm getting also income, and it's pretty good income. I mean, 500, 400 is still good income from the premium version. So I think it's a good idea to do that as well.
I want to kind of wrap things up with a few questions for you. So, first question is like, what and this can be, if you want to like share a future project, maybe you've already announced something, but what is basically like a game that you want to build, if you weren't building endurance right now? Or
I think the thing is, like, I would love to make a game, like multiplayer game, but with the story at the same time. But as it seems to me super complicated for the skills that I have at the moment, I think for me it's going to be super complicated. But that's why, like, my next game, I really want to make multiplayer, but I'm not sure is it going to be with story, because I don't know, maybe I'm just going to stick with something like very basic, and it's going to be just like some kind of matchmaking fights, but kind of in the same setting, because I really like this setting, like 2D top down shooter setting.
yeah,
Maybe in the same kind of universe, because people actually all the time asking, like, can you make something like in multiplayer but in the same universe, maybe like on the planet? So that's what I'm thinking to do right now. Maybe some kind of planet, and then you have some kind of like parties, like one party has to fight another party, and I mean, still kind of basic stuff, because it's like there are so many games like that they're out there. But yeah, I'm thinking about something like this.
sounds cool, man. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Then the second question is like, what is your kind of day? What does a day in your life kind of look like, especially given that you work a full-time job? Kind of how do you balance that with your game development? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. So normally, I find some time for the game development, I guess sometimes in the morning, because I mean, it depends where I'm based. For example, right now when I'm in Ukraine, and the company that I work for is in UK, so there's like 2 hours difference. So I can wake up in the morning around 8:30, and until 10:30 I can do some stuff for the game, or maybe at lunchtime, or maybe, and then I have to work, yeah. And after work, I can spend maybe 2-3 hours, or if I'm going out, so I'm just dropping it like for the next day. So any time where I have like some free time, and that's then when I'm, because it's still super exciting for me, just like because I don't know, maybe it's because I'm still new to it, or I don't know why, but it's still super exciting for me to make this kind of stuff, to code, to add some new features, or to think about new, like, some graphics or whatever. It's like it's like a hobby, like as long as it's a hobby, it's like super cool because I mean I don't depend on it. Like if I was dependent on it, like in terms of income, I probably would be more cautious. Like I would be more maybe wouldn't be that happy to make this kind of stuff. But because I don't depend on it at the moment, it's just like something that you do in your free time, like playing guitar, or maybe I don't know, you do snowboarding or whatever, or like some sport. So yeah, I guess so. My normal day is basically I'm waking up, I'm just like maybe do some stuff for the game, and then I'm just like working, then finishing my work, maybe just going to like to a gym or going out, and then in the evening also when I'm coming back, maybe I spend a couple hours on game, or before doing or just right after work, I'm just doing something for the game, then I do the rest. So I'm trying to have kind of balance, still kind of live, not just to stay all the time like with the computer, because
Yeah.
because like we're not immortal, so we have to be like we have to balance all this kind of stuff, like working and living as well. But it's super fun for me at the moment. I don't know like how if it changes, like I don't know, like in a couple of years, if it's gonna be my like kind of full-time thing, game development. I don't know, maybe I'm not gonna be that happy anymore, but for now I'm super happy, just getting all those comments, just getting like this like some revenue, some like maybe like coverings in some like like mobile game magazines or whatever. Like it's every day I'm checking like some news. I'm just googling like endurance, blah blah blah, like Android or like iOS, and like news in the last 24 hours, and I'm checking like what's going on there. Like who, maybe somebody wrote an article, or maybe somebody like mentioned the game or whatever, or maybe somebody played on YouTube, and I'm just watching all this stuff. I'm just like it's super interesting. Like I'm super excited about all this.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it must be really exciting, especially because it's your first game, and already had so much positive feedback.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, you're doing really well, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, Mark.
Final question is, what is the number one thing, I guess, that you wish you had known before you started making, like Ailment, for example, like your first game?
I think number one thing is just you. I think it's kind of advice. You have to be super patient. I mean, it's just like consistent and patient. This is, I guess, the most like important kind of character features that you need to have, because like there are some days when you just stuck with something, with some like you don't know how to code like to how to make this work or that work, and you just have to push it. You just have to push it. You just have to like at least a little bit, or try this and try that, and you just have to like be patient and not to drop it, because most of the developers, like indie developers, or like even teams, they just drop it because they're getting tired, or they think, oh, this is like huge amount of work still, like in the front, and maybe in it's like another thing, like what is important. You have to kind of make good estimation of how long you're gonna work on the game. I mean, rough but still good, because if you start something and it's super huge, and you at some point you're gonna be super overwhelmed, you're gonna be like, okay, I cannot stand another year of working on this because I'm already tired. So it has to be like estimated in pretty good way. So like, okay, so within 5 months, like I can work for 5 months, like our team can work for 5 months. We have to finish it like yes or yes. Otherwise, it's like we're going to be burned out, or we're going to be overwhelmed or tired or whatever. So a good estimation, just because, but and to estimate it good, you have to know need to know your skill, like how good are you at this, or what are you capable of. If you're trying to reach something like crazy, like AAA or whatever, like something very complex, just don't, and you're a small team and you don't have enough resources, just don't do it. Just make it smaller, make just like a demo, or like just cut some of the features off. But so you have to estimate it good, you have to be consistent, you have to be patient, and those things are very important. Now, obviously, marketing is super important, so you have to do it like from almost from the beginning. So when you start making a game, just make a blog, make a I don't know, like just make posts constantly so people know. People like somebody at some point is gonna just work out because some people gonna see it and they're gonna share it or if they like it, So that's very important. So marketing, consistency, like yeah, all this kind of stuff. It's very very important to do to kind of finish it,
Yeah, I find it so cool. Also, what you mentioned there earlier, especially like what you said with kind of the scope, making sure you're actually able to finish the game in a reasonable time frame. I find it so awesome that you actually realized that making a 3D game, despite that kind of being your background, it would just take too long.
Yeah.
Really kind of saved your game. It's like a mistake that a lot of people, a trap kind of a lot of beginners fall into, but you obviously didn't. You were able to kind of identify that pretty early, which is really good.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Evan, for coming on the show. It's been awesome. You shared a lot of great insights, and good luck with your upcoming release. Is there anything else that you want to share, want people to check out, except for Ailment and Endurance on the app stores?
No, at the moment I don't have anything, but in the future, of course, it would be great if they just follow me or maybe my Twitter or whatever, Facebook, I don't know, maybe my YouTube channel, so they get some news from me. And yeah, thanks so much, Mark, just for inviting me to be able to speak about this kind of stuff. It's always very nice to share. I'm very happy to share this kind of stuff because when I started doing that, when I started working my game, I could barely find some information, especially about like revenues. I never knew like how much money or like how many downloads or whatever, what actually generates revenue. How like I was always thinking like I had this thought, and many people actually are asking me the same question, like, okay, so if you have like 100,000 downloads, how much money do you get? And it's like there's no relation. There's no relation between like amount of downloads and money, because it all depends how many views you get from ads or how many people actually purchasing something in your game. The game can be downloaded like billions of times, and you can get $1, So it's like there is no relation in between that. But so these kind of things I was looking for, and that's why I wanted to share this kind of stuff with people, because people don't know, and I think it is important to know when they start doing something like that. Yeah, they need to know. They need to get some. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing bad stuff for other developers or companies, because maybe I'm just kind of covering some insights, but I don't. The thing is, like, I'm just showing it from perspective of the person who never been in this kind of industry before. So I never worked in the gaming company or anything like that. So it's just kind of my perspective of how it looks like. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's different from their side. Maybe it's different, like pipeline or whatever. But from my side, from the like person who just learned it by myself, it looks like that. And I don't know, like, I think it's kind of, it has to be useful for people,
Absolutely. And I think what you kind of highlighted there as well is like, knowing this kind of information, knowing how important it is to be aware of monetization and for example, even just changing out the ads SDK, how much of a difference that can make is really important to know as a beginner, like you said. So it's really awesome that you kind of shared that, and we're so transparent with kind of making people aware who's starting developing their games, sharing the revenue, sharing how you make the money with the game. I think that's all really interesting, because especially in mobile and free to play, there is such a big disparity with how you make your money and how much you can make, and a lot of people aren't really too aware of it at all. Thanks, Evan. Thanks for coming on, and catch you around.
Yeah, thanks again, Mark. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider leaving a review and subscribing on whatever platform you're listening to. For more game development content, head down to moonlightgamedevs.com. I hope you have a great week, and join me for the next episode.